What's up, lads? You're with Budget Monk, and today I wanted to talk about why I always utilize Vassals first, and I consider it dramatically superior to just expanding and taking land. So there's one major reason why, and I want to get that out of the way first, and then I'm going to go ahead and list all of the various different advantages. So with that being said, as per usual, we're cheating here with the win wars, and I've used the very basics here with my straight up gain crown land approach of lacking influence. And notice that we're on 4 crown land. Otherwise, I've made some claims, and I just went ahead and hired some mercenaries because it did occur to me that we'll be fighting rebels here. So the win wars won't help us. Now, keep in mind that we're at 10 soon out of 8 force limit. And by cheating really quickly, we're just going to go ahead and piece these guys out. But I do have to wait a month before starting our next war. So yeah, obviously you'd be playing a smaller nation and winning the wars you can. You have to be a bit more strategic than just declaring like crazy. He's allied to Frankfurt. But there was one major reason why I considered this to be better, guys. And that reason why is what I call pushing the envelope back. So in a previous episode here, I spoke about the show strength humiliate and gaining monarch points. Of course, gaining monarch points, you're bottlenecked behind gaining admin points here, right, guys? So if we gained even as much as 700 admin points, what would happen? We would drop this technology and we would still want more admin points, right? To core, boost our stability up, get the next technology. The more admin points, the better. And that, of course, includes spending your admin points. Spending your admin points is a way that you're losing admin points. So, in other words, you're not gaining admin points. And that is the major reason why I considered this to be superior, is because in terms of monarch points, it doesn't cost us anything. So, pretty simple concept. You can see exactly the same monarch points. And let's go ahead and look at our crownland here. It's at 12, but I've kept the game paused. We're going to release this. And let's see, we're at 21 crownland. So, boom. Pushing the envelope back. 0 monarch points here initially. That is why I consider using vassals to be superior. I'm going to go ahead and list now all of the various different advantages. But if that's where you stop watching the video, I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Alrighty, lads, I'm trying to keep this video brief, but of course, number 1 would be pushing the envelope back. Otherwise, we have the crownland, which I've kind of demonstrated here, which can be utilized well. We are, of course, playing inside of the Holy Roman Empire, but yet no unlawful territory. So I would consider that to be a nice advantage. Let's talk about relation slots. You could debate, well, there is a cost. Maybe you're playing some nation who has subjects, or you really value your allies. Well, of course, you can drop strong duchies. So as long as you're using the magic number of 2 vassals, which is what is required to take strong duchies, then you gain 2 relation slots. So yes, that does cost you a little bit of influence, 10 influence, but I don't consider that a legitimate downside. I actually consider it a plus side because you gain an extra relation upon annexing one of your subjects. Now, speaking of your subjects, if we annex a subject in 10 years, that just gave us crown land when we annexed it. If we diplo annex it, we will gain more crown land again for a second time, assuming our influence is low. So basically annexing them twice over in a 10-year period. Next up, we'll talk about the fact that you gain a base of +1 force limit per subject. So if people aren't aware, we were at 8 earlier, we're now at 11, and I'm not even over my force limit. I'm under right now. So basically, to be blunt about it, if you look here at force limit, you gain a base of 1. So Baden and Donauwörth, I don't know how to pronounce that, are giving us 1.3 and 1.4, while their vassal contribution is more like 3 and 4, 0.3 and 0.4, but they give you a base value of +1. So the reality is, in the early game, guys, before buildings are built up, not only are they giving us this much tribute, and the reason they're giving you a significant amount of tribute is because they give you a portion of their own income, and their own income has base values the same way. Well, the reality is that we would be lucky to be getting that much money in total from these nations, but then, of course, with the force limit, they are objectively more powerful, in my opinion. But it doesn't stop there, because when we ultimately annex the armies, we will gain their armies, right? So they're actually generating force limit, not force limit, but manpower also. They're actually generating manpower for you. And that is a way that when you fight war after war after war, you're being really productive, you're showing strength on your opponents, and world building. I hope to make videos demonstrating what I mean by that shortly. You can actually keep your manpower up by utilizing subjects and incorporating them into the realm. But of course, they will have their initial armies which will help you in combat and in wars, particularly when you're small. A lot of people, they weigh in on they don't like subjects, or at least I've seen them that way. They try to avoid utilizing them. And I think that boils down to them basically being incompetent as they are AI. And it can be really frustrating, but as you can see him building a unit. I think that when you're a small consolidated nation like this, especially in this patch, subjects seem to attach pretty well. Let me know down below if that does seem to be the case for you guys, because I seriously think it does, but I don't spend all of my time in this patch. I kind of bounce around patches lately, so I'm not 100% sure of that. But of course, they're contributing their forces. So not only do they give you force limit, but they're contributing their forces, and many of them will actually, if they're making money, they will actually hire mercenaries upon going to war. So the reality is you can be over twice as powerful as you otherwise would be if we own this land directly, especially if we're taking advantage of keeping our crown land low. We would be gaining a lack of autonomy over time in those provinces. Instead, they're nice and stable in the meantime, and, the autonomy is quote-unquote good, even though, it's not, because it will be reduced later. But the point is, we're over twice as strong. I'm convinced of that. And you'll find yourself, if you don't utilize this, that when you do utilize it, you'll feel much more powerful. The proximity is key to utilizing the numbers to your advantage, in my opinion. And also, make sure to stay away from enabling divert trade. A lot of people, like in this circumstance where we share trade here, they would take their trade. Well, unless they have a very high treasury, they just got tons of money, which can be the case. And unless they are, a key areas, like maybe there would be a Dalmatia here, and you really want the trade in Venice, it benefits you a lot. I would actually let them keep their trade, and the reason why is because nations like this can just debt spiral and become useless, but as long as they do have a general trend of gaining some money, they can sometimes contribute 5 or 6 units by utilizing the mercenaries. So just throwing it out there, I would stay away from diverting trade powers that will do so little for you, unless, there are circumstances where it would benefit you. Let's talk next about zones of control and forts. Of course, if we had full annex these guys, we would have one capital fort, guys, and anytime we go into a war, boom, we're 100%ed, essentially, 99 war score when they take our fort. In this case, there's 3 of them, and if the AI takes one of them, it's going to be about 33 war score, right? So, or 32. So, especially for base racing, if we were sieging down their country, they take one of our forts and we end up winning, much more valuable. But the other thing, of course, is the provinces to engage your enemy and fight on. In this cases, they're grasslands and farmlands, but you can see the rivers everywhere. We don't have to worry about the rivers. It's very often going to benefit us. It's always going to be a defensive battle, of course, on these provinces, and that's obviously much more applicable in like the mountains, the hills, etc. Capital provinces being positive, friendly terrain. That's one of the last bonuses as well. So that's pretty much it. They're really strong. If you're not utilizing vassals, you should be. There's one more bonus which should be obvious, which is that you're sharing the load in terms of annexing between 2 different monarch points instead of 1 monarch point of admin points. And Otherwise, I've been thinking about doing a series, guys, like I used to on YouTube. I don't expect it to do that well, but at the end of the series where I've shown you all of these tips and tricks, I'm thinking about doing an edited down playthrough where I, edit down but show you all the various moves, the wars, everything of significance, and show you guys how to utilize these tactics firsthand as an example. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. If you guys want to support me, come watch me over on Twitch, my live stream, which I'm trying to have fun, but it's not always going well. I'm playing Looker, and it's a pretty glorious game, but only if you have time, of course. And otherwise, I hope you guys stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.